There is a story in baseball that almost nobody tells anymore. The story of a 16-year-old boy turned away from a tryout without being allowed to swing a single bat. A man who became the most beloved athlete in America during the darkest years of the 20th century, only to be reduced in public memory to 4 words that someone else said about him. His name was Mel Ott. 22 years, 1 team, 511 home runs, and a batting stance that every coach in baseball would have tried to fix, except for the one man who looked at it and said, "Do not let anyone touch that." He was not forgotten because he was ordinary. He was forgotten because he was too decent to make the kind of noise that keeps names alive. To understand Mel Ott, you have to go back to a small town on the west bank of the Mississippi River, a place called Gretna, Louisiana, just south of New Orleans. The year is 1925. A 16-year-old boy with heavy legs, a wide grin, and an arm full of pure baseball instinct walks into a tryout for the New Orleans Pelicans, the local minor league team. The manager takes one look at him, short, stocky, just a teenager. Without letting the boy swing a single bat, without giving him one pitch to hit, the manager sends him home. Too small. Not worth the time. Mel found a job at a lumber company in Patterson, Louisiana, about 90 miles from New Orleans. In his very first game for the company team, with no tryout and no introduction, he drove in the winning runs with a home run and a triple. The owner, a wealthy man named Harry Williams, was sitting in the stands. He had seen many ball players. He had never seen anything like this. Williams was a personal friend of John McGraw, the legendary manager of the New York Giants. Before leaving for a trip to Europe, he scribbled a note on a postcard and mailed it to Mel. "Go to New York, report to McGraw. You have a tryout waiting." Mel thought it was a joke. He did not go. 2 months later, Williams returned from Europe, found out, and was furious. He handed Mel a train ticket and told him this was not a joke and never had been. In September of 1925, a teenager who had been rejected once and nearly missed his second chance entirely stepped into the Polo grounds. McGraw only agreed to the tryout because Williams had asked. But the moment Mel stepped in, he lined pitch after pitch into the seats in right field. When Mel walked away, McGraw pulled a writer aside and said, "That kid is remarkable. He has got the most natural swing I have seen in years. This kid is going to be one of the greatest left-hand hitters the National League has ever seen." In January of 1926, Mel Ott signed his first contract with the New York Giants. He was 16 and had never played a single inning of professional baseball. The man who had just called him a future legend would now become something more, but not a gentle one. John McGraw was not a gentle man. Players feared him. He had managed the Giants since 1902 and had built a reputation as one of the most demanding and most terrifying figures the game had ever produced. And yet, with Mel Ott, he made a decision with almost no precedent in professional baseball. He refused to send Mel to the minor leagues. Not for 1 week. Not for a single inning. His reason was absolute. He did not trust anyone else with that swing. Before each pitch, Mel lifted his right foot off the ground, held it briefly, then drove it down as his entire body coiled into the ball. It looked strange, almost like a stumble, but it produced a transfer of weight that McGraw recognized as something close to perfect. He said plainly, "I do not give a single thought to that strange kick. That is the best natural swing I have seen in years." When Casey Stengel, then managing the Giants affiliate in Toledo, asked to borrow Mel for development, McGraw growled back, "The kid stays with me." Instead, McGraw made Mel his personal project. No card games, no alcohol, no socializing with the veterans. Mel sat next to McGraw on the bench every game and listened to the old man explain every pitch, every situation, every decision unfolding in front of them. McGraw also hired a track coach to teach Mel how to run properly because his heavy legs cramped badly under pressure. Every day, McGraw personally drilled him on batting and outfield positioning. Then in October of 1927, the Giants' starting right fielder Ross Youngs died of kidney disease at 30 years old. A door opened. The following season, Mel Ott became the regular right fielder of the New York Giants at 19. He would not leave that position for 18 years. McGraw saw a teenager with an unorthodox swing, and instead of fixing him, he built a wall around him and said, "Nobody touches this." The 1929 season was Mel Ott's announcement to the world. He was 20 years old. By the time it ended, he had hit 42 home runs and driven in 151 runs, numbers that set a record for players 20 years old or younger at the start of a season. That record has never been beaten. The Polo Grounds had a right field foul line measuring only 257 feet from home plate. For Mel Ott, it was a kingdom. He hit so many home runs into that corner that fans began calling it Ottville. Not a newspaper nickname, not a marketing invention. Just what people naturally called it, because that piece of the ballpark belonged to him. From 1928 through 1945, he led the Giants in home runs for 18 consecutive seasons. No player in Major League Baseball history has ever led his team in any single category for that many years in a row. The closest anyone has come is 11. Pitchers did not want to face him. They walked him instead, 5 times in a single game on 3 separate occasions. He drew a walk in 7 consecutive plate appearances, tying a Major League record. He was intentionally walked with runners already on base. Mel explained the source of that power simply. I found that when I tossed my right leg up, it threw all my weight on the left leg. In this way, I got my full strength into my swing. Does that remind you of any player you have rooted for? Someone whose presence in the lineup felt like a guarantee? Leave a comment and tell us who that was for you. October of 1933, the World Series, Giants against the Washington Senators. Nobody had expected the Giants to be here. McGraw had been forced to re-sign mid-season due to failing health. His replacement, Bill Terry, broke a bone in his wrist before the season properly began. A columnist called them a team that nobody knows. They won the pennant anyway. Game 5. Giants up 3-0 heading into the 6th. Then Washington's Fred Schulte stepped up with 2 runners on and hit a ball over the wall. 3-3, extra innings. Top of the 10th, 2 outs. Mel Ott stepped to the plate. Pitcher Jack Russell delivered a curve. Mel lifted his leg, brought it down, and drove the ball deep to center. Schulte sprinted back, leaped over the low barrier in front of the bleachers, and for one moment his glove appeared to close around the ball. Then it fell out. The second base umpire signaled a ground rule double. Terry erupted from the dugout. All 4 umpires gathered near second base while 40,000 people in Griffith Stadium stood and waited. The umpires separated. The call was reversed. Home run. Giants, world champions. Sports writer Grantland Rice called it one of the most spectacular closing chapters in all World Series history. In the full 5-game series, Mel hit 389 with 2 home runs and 4 runs batted in. He had been the best player on the field when it mattered most. That championship home run was almost ruled a double. 4 men in a circle on a dirt infield changed the outcome with a 2-minute conversation. History is sometimes that fragile. Leo Durocher, one of the hardest personalities in baseball history, once said about Mel Ott, "I never knew a baseball player who was so universally loved. Why, even when he was playing against the Dodgers at Ebbets Field, he would be cheered, and there are no more passionate fans than the ones in Brooklyn. The fans of the rival team, in their own stadium, cheered for the opponent." During the war years of the early 1940s, Mel became something larger than a ball player. A sports magazine named him Sports Father of the Year in 1943. Then in 1944, with millions of Americans buying war bonds, a nationwide vote was held for the most popular sports hero of all time. Mel Ott won. He finished ahead of Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Joe Louis, and Jack Dempsey. 1 year later, on August 1st of 1945, he stepped to the plate at the Polo Grounds and hit the 500th home run of his career, becoming the first player in National League history to reach that milestone. Only Ruth and Jimmy Fox had ever done it before him. The stadium announcer told the crowd. The ovation lasted for minutes. At that moment, he had 500 home runs, a World Series ring, and the love of an entire nation. Something, though, was already going wrong. And the man who would name it publicly was the same man who had described Mel's popularity so vividly. His name was Leo Durocher. July 5th, 1946. The Giants were in last place. Mel had been player-manager since 1942. He was decent with players, composed under pressure, and completely unable to install in a clubhouse the kind of hard, competitive edge that winning teams require. That gap was becoming impossible to ignore. Before the game, Brooklyn broadcaster Red Barber was sitting with Durocher in the visiting dugout. Barber needled him. "Come on, Leo. Be a nice guy for a change and give credit where it is due." Durocher jumped to his feet. At that exact moment, Mel Ott led the Giants out of their dugout to warm up. Durocher pointed across the field. "Nice guys, look over there." Do you know a nicer guy than Mel Ott or any of the other giants? They are the nicest guys in the world, and where are they? In last place. Sports writers were listening. The phrase traveled through newsrooms, onto front pages, and eventually into every corner of American culture, compressed down to 4 words: nice guys finish last. Durocher meant it as an argument for toughness. He was probably not entirely wrong about managing baseball teams, but here is what almost nobody knows. When Mel stepped down as manager midway through the 1948 season, and the Giants needed to find a replacement, Mel Ott recommended Leo Durocher for the job. The man who had been publicly mocked handed the position to the man who had mocked him because he thought it was right for the team. After Mel died, Durocher telephoned a mutual friend. He said, "Mel was the nicest guy who ever lived." He did not say it as a criticism this time. After baseball was done with Mel Ott, or perhaps more accurately, after Mel Ott was done with the part of baseball he had played so beautifully for so long, he found his way into broadcasting. He had a voice that people trusted, a deep knowledge of the game, and a manner of speaking that felt like a friend explaining something he loved. From 1956 through 1958, he called games for the Detroit Tigers on radio and television alongside a broadcaster named Van Patrick. By all accounts, he was wonderful at it. In the fall of 1958, Mel and his wife Mildred drove out to the coastal town of Bay St. Louis in Mississippi to check on a small cottage they had recently purchased. It was a quiet errand, the kind of ordinary afternoon that fills most of a life. After dinner at a local restaurant, they got back in the car. The road was covered in fog. On November 14th of 1958, their station wagon collided head-on with another vehicle on a fog-shrouded highway. The other driver, a carpenter named Leslie Curry, died immediately at the scene. Mel suffered fractures in both legs, a broken arm, 6 broken ribs, and serious injuries to his head and kidneys. Mildred suffered similar injuries. They were taken first to a hospital in Gulfport, and then, when Mel's condition deteriorated due to kidney failure, he was transferred to a hospital in New Orleans. Doctors worked for 8 hours through the night of November 20th using an artificial kidney in an attempt to save him. On November 21st, 1958, Mel Ott died. He was 49 years old. The baseball world absorbed the news in something close to disbelief. Here was a man who had never sought controversy, never generated scandal, never made an enemy he did not have to make. Here was a man who had held the National League record for home runs for 29 consecutive years, who had been voted the most beloved sports figure in America during wartime, who had literally handed the reins of his team to the man who had publicly mocked him because he believed it was the right thing to do. And now he was gone, at 49, on a foggy road in Mississippi, on the way home from checking on a cottage. His record of 511 home runs would stand for another 8 years, until Willie Mays surpassed it in 1966. His record of 18 consecutive seasons leading his team in home runs has never been touched. His number 4 was retired by the Giants in 1949 and hangs today at Oracle Park in San Francisco, decades and a continent away from the Polo grounds where Mel Ott built his legacy. Now we come back to the question this story opened with. Why is Mel Ott forgotten? He never chased headlines. He never created drama outside the field. He spent 22 years with one team and never asked to leave. He was defined in the public mind by 4 words someone else said about him, words that spread because they were compact, not because they were complete. The men history remembers most are often the ones who burned fast and loud. Mel Ott burned steadily for a very long time, and that kind of light is harder to see from a distance. If this story meant something to you, share it with someone. Tell us in the comments whether you knew his name before today. And if there is another forgotten player you think deserves this kind of attention, we want to hear about them. The next video is ready when you are.